You're listening to a podcast of Reelblack Radio with Mike D and Steph Renee. Fridays 11 a.m. till noon on 900 AM WURD and 900 AM WURD.com.
Again, something that hopefully puts a smile on your face, a little tap in your toe, and a reminder that you are gifted and special. And that is part of what we are all going to conjure up so that we can now overcome some of these things that are plaguing us in our society. Even if we don't necessarily agree on the method, we should know that we are capable enough to get it done. And that is the message that brings us back to today's program as we shift into Reelblack Radio. And Mike D is in the house. Good morning.
I'm great, Steph. How are you?
Good.
You know, a long week, a lot going on.
Yes.
And you know, a lot of sleepless nights trying to get content up on our show and stuff to talk about the Black Lives Matter and all the different things that have been going on. But you know, I guess today we have a lot to talk about in ways of new releases. Ghostbusters is out today. I don't know how you feel about that.
Very lukewarm.
Okay, well, we'll talk about that. We'll talk about that towards the end of the show.
Yeah, before we bring on our guest, though, I just want to remind people that today's Mojo is being brought to you by Hands from the Heart Home Healthcare Services, minority owned and operated, providing non-medical home care services. Give them a call at 1-844-6-HOME-NOW. That's 1-844-646-6366. Hands from the Heart, here when you need them.
Nice. Yeah, so, and we also have two filmmakers who are debuting their features this month.
Excellent.
On the show today. Our first guest is Ryan Carmichael, whose new film, But Not For Me, has an exclusive online premiere this evening, starting at 7 p.m. at flixpremiere.com.
Nice.
Hey, Ryan, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I literally just found out about you and your film like earlier this week, and so I appreciate you getting on this quick. I mean, great film. First, I must say, I watched it last night, and it just held me completely. Just an auspicious debut. Your fellow NYU alum. Can you tell people about the film?
Sure. So the film was very much inspired by. Well, by my experience and by the experience of countless other people who moved to New York to follow their dreams, right? I think, you know, the experience is more or less universal. Fresh out of college, you know, you want to come to New York to achieve your creative aspirations, and you find that living in New York is a little bit tough. And that's more or less what the film touches on. The film is about an advertising copywriter named Will Stewart, who aspires to be a fiction writer, a creative writer, but it sort of takes on a job writing ad copy to pay his bills, and he's still struggling to pay his bills even at this job. He's feeling creatively stagnant. And in the midst of all this, a concert violinist moves next door who inspires him to sort of, you know, tap back into why he moved to New York. They come together to create music and attempt to validate their existences in the city, and the story moves from there.
Yes, indeed. Well, I know a little bit about that whole ad copywriter business because that is something that I did in my years prior to coming on the air here at WURD. So that idea of how your creativity makes other people money but doesn't necessarily, you know, open up the floodgates of money for you is something I have lived through, sir.
Yeah, and the film, on that note, the film is also sort of, not necessarily an indictment, but definitely a criticism of capitalism in that sense, about how creatives are sort of, you know, figured as commodities, but when it comes to how they're valued for what they actually have to say, as far as their own perspective, they're often belittled and, you know, diminished.
Yeah.
Right, now, somewhat autobiographical?
Yes, yeah, very much so. You know, I think as far as I'm concerned, when it comes to writing or expressing myself, I think I do the best work as far as when I tap into stuff that, you know, I feel immediately, and I'm able to be more experimental narratively when I know that there's a strong baseline of stuff that I'm actually tapping into on a human level. So on that note, yeah, it's you know, it's semi-autobiographical. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, well, I know that I have one of the best pieces of advice I got from a creative in my interviewing life was from songwriter and singer Rasan Patterson, who said that, that first album is the one you've been writing all your life. And that's what, when they talk about the sophomore slump, it's because, you kind of shot a load for the first one that was based on all of these intense feelings and experiences. And then you're trying to recreate that same sense of connectedness as you move forward. So I imagine there's a lot of heart and soul in this piece, even though it's semi-autobiographical.
That's right. I mean, I always point to Illmatic. I'm a huge hip-hop fan. This film is definitely hip-hop inspired. I'm like, Nas, I mean, this isn't a conversation about Nas, obviously, but Illmatic is one of the best albums of all time. You felt that heart and soul there, and then Nas has made good records since then, but that album sort of stands alone. And I think as far as But Not For Me goes, that came from I think I made it a couple of years ago, my mid-20s. So everything up until that point in my life, I was feeding on, and especially my experience in New York and at NYU, and it was there were so many things that were just sort of building up inside me that I had to get out. I never felt that creatively inspired to actually express them in such a way as I did while writing and then directing this film. So it definitely is a huge buildup of life experiences that go into, a first piece of major work, I guess.
Yeah, indeed. Well, speaking of that, we want to give people a little taste of the creativity that you showcase in the film with one of the songs that is featured as a part of it. So we won't play the whole thing, but we just want to give people a little taste of this collaboration between your characters, the wordsmith and the classical violinist. So here's a little piece of that, ladies and gentlemen.
If time were to tell how much we had left to the second, we'd try to inhale every inch of breath we could get in and hold it until we felt the final tick slipping away. Then exhale as our very existence evaporates. Our fear of living is ever-looming demise, existential corrosion, doom and surprise, Fox News headlines, student loan deadlines, next day breadlines, one-way express lines, confined and consigned to products and narcotics, present to numb the anguish when anxieties are brought up. We're caught up figuring our way out of this maze. Theseus laid strings and all we have is dismay.
So bring us into this creative space that you showcase as a part of the film, how this collaboration came to be and how this sound is a part of how these characters develop their relationship.
Definitely. I mean, just from my end, as I mentioned before, I'm a huge hip hop head, and before I even wanted to become a filmmaker, I wanted to be a rapper. When I was in middle school, me and my friends, we used to write raps and record them, have all weekend sessions, just sitting in the basement and recording songs, terrible songs. But, it started when I was 10, 11 years old. And then, you grow up, and, I got inspired by movies, and I remember seeing Spike Lee's Do the Right Thing, and I was, blown away by it, and I didn't realize that you could express such things through a visual medium. So just kind of marrying those two loves kind of brought me to want to do a film that definitely drew upon hip-hop as a means of expression. And, as far as hip-hop, I can be a little bit critical of contemporary hip-hop. I'm one of those 90s kids who actually grew up during the golden age and dismayed by what's going on now. So I wanted to sort of tap into that real lyrical, really expressive form of the music to tell the story of these two characters who are trying to find a way, who are struggling. And the only way they can sort of get what they're feeling out is to play, is to rap, is to do that thing and actually tap back into why they moved to the city in the first place.
Right, and
so that collaboration is what the film is all about.
And now, and your lead actor, Marcus Carl Franklin, just great. He just owns every scene that he's in. Now, did you write the lyrics yourself, or was it a collaboration?
Yeah. Well, I wrote all the lyrics for all of the songs, and then Marcus Carl Franklin, he's a very talented actor, but he's also a very, very gifted musician in his own right. So when me and my producing partner Jason, we watched his audition video, and as part of the audition for the part, we had all of the actors do a little rap that we didn't give it to them. They just said, come to the audition with a verse ready, a hot 16 bars ready to go, and Marcus came up. We saw his audition tape. We're like, man, this kid is crazy. It was ridiculous. His technical grasp on rapping and his flow is incredible. So I wrote all the lyrics, and when we cast him, I basically like said, here are the beats. Here, I have them figured out a certain way, but I definitely want to tap into your creativity to figure out how we can do this collaboratively. So he kind of took the lyrics that I wrote and more or less shaped them more and like figured out a flow so that they were a little bit more rhythmic, a little bit more melodic, and figured out how to make the record pop in a way that I couldn't do in the first place. So he was a huge part of the collaboration as far as bringing these songs to life.
No, again, it was just a discovery. Your film, it was kind of under the radar, but I in terms of like big festival recognition, but it gets its premiere today on Flix Premiere. You have a red carpet online premiere. Now, how does that work if people want to see the movie tonight?
Right. So the movie, as you mentioned, is the red carpet online premiere tonight at 7 o'clock. You log into the Flix Premiere website, and you basically rent the film. It'll be available from 7 p.m. to 12 a.m. Tonight, and then in a couple weeks it'll be released for general release. But we definitely want to generate as much momentum for the release tonight as possible. And again, the website is flixpremiere.com. Yeah,
and the information is on reelblack.com. We're up against the break, but I really, again, I applaud you. I think you did a fabulous job with this movie, and I just encourage people to go to Flix Premiere and check it out. It's well worth your time, well worth the money. So
indeed, and I hope that your trajectory includes being able to look back on those ad copywriter days and knowing that there are bigger, brighter, and more lucrative things ahead of you, sir.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Okay, it's Ryan Carmichael, his new movie, But Not For Me, on flixpremiere.com this evening starting at 7.
Which is really cool. And when we come back from the break, let's talk a little bit about this idea of how people are using this technology now to introduce their work to people in wonderful new ways, especially for the folks that are, kind of the little engine that could with their films, and trying to get into film houses may be more of a difficult route, but being able to show people, a premiere online is a very cool thing. So we'll talk about that and plenty more when we continue. But first, we want to remind you that chiropractic maximizes the natural God-given strengths of the human body and its capacity to heal itself. So visit Dr. Lay at the Center for Higher Power at 150 Monument Road, Suite 207. Your first visit and adjustment are complimentary, yes, free. For more information or to set an appointment, give them a call at 215-740-9791. That number again is 215-740-9791. We're going to take a quick break and come right back with more Real Black Radio here on the Mojo on 900 AM WURD. Stay tuned. This is Stephanie Renee welcoming you back to today's edition of Real Black Radio. Mike D is in the house. And before that last break, we were just talking about the ways that people are using this technology to introduce their work to a larger audience and kind of make a big to-do about it.
Yeah, well, the Flix Premiere, you should all go to the website. It's a brand new streaming service where basically they have exclusively independent films, relatively new to the festival, from the festival circuit, and the way they release the films is every Friday there is a red carpet premiere movie that you have the opportunity to watch for a window of time. As long as you log on between 7 and midnight, you have access to the film, and then a couple weeks later it goes into their library. So they have But Not For Me. They also have Interwoven, which is Monique's new movie that she produced and co-stars in. So there are a few movies with some melanin in it. And Ryan, I highly recommend Ryan's movie. I'm really dismayed. I played a lot of festivals, but I'm really surprised it never made it to Philly. My first time hearing of it, but it's just a great movie to see if you're looking for different types of representations. And like he was saying, it's very true to his voice. Now, speaking of red carpet premieres, our next guest on the line is hosting, he's the writer-director of a new movie called Boston to Philly. So you obviously have the Philly connection.
Yes.
And his red carpet premiere is coming up at the end of the month. Celestin, hey.
Yes, hey, hello guys. How are you guys?
I'm great. Hey, thanks for having us on. I'm glad to have you on.
He's like, I did call into your show, right? Yes.
Boston to Philly premiere Thursday, July 28th at the Ritz 5. Congratulations. So, what can you tell folks about your debut feature?
Well, honestly, there's a lot to talk about. It's a very exciting time right now for myself and for everyone involved. But, I think that's the main point I want to make sure everyone gets is that this is a Philadelphia film. Mm-hmm. And, even though I think we've done a good job to really have elements that everyone around the whole country can appreciate and kind of relate to, at the end of the day, this is a film that we made in Philadelphia for everyone involved and a part of Philadelphia. So the world premiere that's taking place in the city, people should come out and check out because they'll be happy with it, with the result.
Nice.
Yeah, but so basically, what's the story about?
Yeah, so the story, it's a coming-of-age drama that basically showcases the lives of 4 young adults starting their first year of college. And it kind of gives you insight to their life before going into college, everything that kind of happened to them leading up to their first year of college, and then what takes place within that first year that they all kind of together and morphing into a cohesive group or family to finish the year strong. That's the overall theme and plot of the film.
Okay. Now you also star in the film, or one of the stars of the film.
Yes. I don't want to give my title because I pretty much do. I do everything. I wrote it, I directed it, I produced it, I edited it, and I starred in it. So
wow.
You can pick one, and that's I'll go with.
Yeah, and I mean, talk a little bit about that process, though, because, a lot of times this is born out of necessity, but I don't think people really focus on the idea of how much different kind of skill set and headspace it requires to be successful at all of those different roles you just ran down for us.
You know what? You said it right. That's very true. I'll be honest, I had no idea of just the mountain of grief that would come. And, I wanted to write it. I wrote it, and then I thought to myself that, if I can't find someone that I feel really, truly encompasses, like, the character of Rome, who I play in film, then, I'd have to do it myself. So that was really out of necessity. But once I was in the film and I was in the neck of it, I realized, I'm going to have to edit this thing myself because no one really kind of sees what I see and no one kind of understands the story as I understand it. So, I kind of was in a position where I felt as though I had to do this just so I could make sure the film is presented the right way.
Yeah.
But you're right. It's a mountain of grief. It's a very daunting task every time you step in that editing platform.
Well, Ralph, I mean, I know you're wearing many hats on this production, but like, what bug bit you first? Was it the acting, the writing, the directing?
Definitely directing. Directing bit me first, and it hurt. It hurt a lot because it's hard. And I'm sure you know this, Mike. You've been there a couple times. I love it, but it definitely was what kind of got me into filmmaking. The first video I ever directed, I was actually in high school, and I made a cheap thriller with all my friends, and we were mass murdering teachers. So love that, right? But that's directing always been like kind of my passion, the first thing I love. Okay,
and so are you from Boston? You from Philly? What's the?
Yeah, so the title pretty much gives it away, Mike. I'm from Boston, and I moved to Philly. And in the film, the character he comes to Philadelphia because he loses his parents in a very tragic accident at the day of an important basketball game. But for me, I came to Philadelphia because I was given a job offer. So a little different, but it's same experience. I came from one city and I had to come here.
Okay, so you use a lot of Philly talent. I mean, can you talk about some of the actors that you had a chance to work with in this film?
Love to. So we have entertainment personality Mia Mendez. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her. She was had a pretty long career in radio, and she's just now getting into acting. And she steals the film. She's the star. She's definitely a star. And we also have Philadelphia rapper A.R. Ab. who was kind enough to have a featured role in the film. And we have Ty Burst, John Jameson, Shane Witherspoon. We have a lot of well-known independent actors that have worked really hard to get to this point of the career, and they've given me the pleasure to be in the film.
Right, and a lot of these folks will be at the red carpet premiere on July 28th.
Absolutely, yep. And they'll also be available for the Q&A happening directly after the film.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, this is super exciting. So, what are the things? I mean, we just had another first timer on. What are the things that you learned the most? What would you do again? What would you do differently?
Well, what have I learned the most? What would I do again? What would I do differently? So, what I've actually learned the most since starting Boston to Philly is a lot of different events occurred outside of making the film that really kind of changed my perspective on how I view things. And and what I mean by that is a lot of, for example, the Black Lives Matter movement was at its most volatile, I guess, right in the middle of shooting. And I'm 26 years old, but I really have never looked deep into certain issues that deal with race or deal with how education funding. Educational funding has never been something that I really thought about. And so I came to Philadelphia, and I was exposed to that while shooting the film. So the one thing I learned is that given a platform like directing a film, you want to put a positive message out there. And I've never thought of that before, but I've learned that now, and it's something that I will do for the rest of my life. Is constantly strive to push the positive message out there that evokes change in the right way.
Yeah. Yeah. And you said, so you're this journey, Boston to Philly, is yours. And I don't detect much of a Boston accent, but I think I detected a little hint of a Caribbean one. What's your background?
Thank you. Every now and then you'll hear a Boston accent. Every now and then. You got to bear with me sometimes. I am patient as well. Mm-hmm. I speak it fluently as well as I understand it. So every now and then I'll also, you'll hear a little bit of Creole come out of me. If I get startled.
See, that's me in Spanglish, because I had a tendency to do that. People are like, that is so annoying. Please stop. Starting this sentence in one language and finishing it in another. I think I've broken myself of that habit.
That's great. Only, you understand. It's something you can't get away from.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah. That was wonderful, wonderful. What was the second question you asked? I apologize.
No, you answered it.
Yeah,
I was going to say, because I thought, so it's Celestin, yes?
Yes, sir. It's Celestin.
Oh, so Celestin. Okay, so you don't put an accent on your last name. Okay.
If you want to hear me say it in the full Creole, it'd be I'm for Celestin.
Aha.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right, so we need folks to come out. Tickets are $16 to $20 on Thursday, July 28th at the Ritz 5 Theater, and this is the very first time it's going to be shown anywhere, right, in public.
Yep. Yeah. We're getting an exclusive first look, and we're giving it to the city of brotherly love.
Right. So super duper excited for you. I'll definitely be there if I'm not in Montana, and that's a whole nother story.
We'll get the backstory on that in a little bit.
And but the link is on Reelblack.com for the Eventbrite. There's also a Facebook link. So we just encourage people to spread the word. I mean, it's just the birth of a new artist. I'm really proud for you.
Indeed, with deep Philadelphia roots for this particular film. So congratulations, and we wish you much success.
I really appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much for having me. It's flat.
Yes.
Thanks, you.
Ralph. No, so cool. Ralph reached out to me through social media, and the trailer is just great. It kind of reminded me. Should have mentioned this while Ralph was on the line. Paper Chase. You remember that movie or the TV show and things? John Houseman.
I was gonna say a while ago. Yeah, it wasn't one of the ones that I watch regularly, but I definitely remember the opening credits and the papers flying in the courtroom. And yes.
Well, it's definitely about the value of education, how all these different people come into a community college and basically discover themselves. So
nice.
Looking forward to that.
Excellent. So you said that the opening night is...
July 28th, which is a Thursday night at the Ritz 5, which is at 214 Walnut Street. And there's an early bird special on the Eventbrite link, $16.
Nice.
And then I guess after the early bird, it goes to $20. So.
Right, and that's for the film and the Q&A with all those Philadelphia stars being present.
Yes, film Q&A with the lead cast and creator. And, Ralph is definitely somebody to look out for. He's already at work on his next project, so if you're an actor, you might want to sneak in there.
Indeed. I would not sneak in.
Oh, I mean, buy your ticket, but slip in there.
Yes.
Slip in there.
And make sure that you introduce yourself to him.
Say hi to him.
And see the opportunity. So what's this about you going to Montana?
I can't really speak any more than that, but my next project may be taking me to Montana of all places. So,
okay.
So we'll
for an extended period of time, or
just a week.
Oh, okay.
Just a week to do some research
out in God's mountainous country.
Before we get to the break, did you get a chance to watch Power season 3?
I don't watch Power at all. So I'm the wrong person to ask about
flag
that.
on the play, ladies and gentlemen.
I mean, Omari Hardwick is eye candy. Natari Houghton, I appreciate, and all that. So it's not like I've never seen an episode of it. It's just not something that I watch on a weekly basis and what have you.
Yes,
point of information, but I thought it didn't start till Sunday. Did I miss something?
I thought the screening. There was a screening at the Prince the other night. I thought it was
that you didn't tell me about. You're fired again.
I just found out about myself. All right. Okay, so all right, Sunday, July 17th, and I guess is the premiere of Power.
Okay.
And I guess you won't be watching. I can't watch.
He's guessing.
Mike, I got breaking news for you.
Yes, sir.
You're fired.
You did kind of deserve that because you just dropped that out there. Now, he's a fan, and I'm not saying I'm not a fan, but I just haven't seen enough of it to get hooked on it.
I watched the first one. I was like, all right, this is all right. I mean, it's kind of softcore, R-rated.
The first episode
very
or the first
episode
season?
of the first season. I
like it. My wife and I are fans.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I was like, anybody who wants to see Omari's naked butt cheeks, I understand they get a lot of play.
Yeah, I'm not worried about that.
I'm just saying, for those interested, because I'm not going to be heteronormative, for those interested in the listening audience, I'm saying that one of the things I have heard about Power is that you get a lot of half naked or mostly naked Omari Hardwick in the show.
Yeah, it's definitely an R-rated crime drama. Mm-hmm. When I see that, I always wonder, like, what if Empire was on Stars? How crazy would that be?
Oh yeah, it would be
crazy now, isn't it?
It would be a different level. It would definitely be a different level because some of those conversations would definitely involve words that are not allowed on network television.
So.
It's very interesting that you bring that up too, because it is so odd seeing a set of episodes. I don't very often get to BET or TV1 on my dial. I'm being perfectly honest, but when drift down there for whatever reason, it's always on a day where they're playing Empire marathons.
Okay.
So they have the license to be able to rebroadcast it over the summer, and they're doing it like 3 episodes at a time.
3 episodes back to back to back.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to TV1. They did Hollywood Unsung on Shirley Ralph, who's a Philly person.
Yes.
I think that's on demand. And then Rudy Ray Moore, I was excited about. So actually, I like that show.
Yeah.
The whole Unsung series is really well done. So, I guess we're ready. We have to take a break, but when we come back, I want to talk about Ghostbusters and new movies on DVD.
Excellent. So all that and plenty more when we come back to conclude today's edition of Real Black Radio here on The Mojo on 900 AM WURD. Keep it locked. From the album Hard Groove, that is Hard Groove, courtesy of Roy Hargrove, trumpeter Roy Hargrove, and his group, the RH Factor. That used to be the theme for my show that I did on ProjectVibe.net until Elliot Williams decided that he was going to let it go. But we had a good time for years with that podcast and all the good things that he represented there. And Roy Hargrove certainly is no stranger to the contemporary sound of Philadelphia. He's been featured on so many of the songs that the Soulquarians or that Amir Questlove Thompson himself has produced for a bunch of other artists. And that soulfulness that he brings to contemporary jazz and the other compositions that he contributes to is tangible.
No, I like that song. I had my head nodding a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's definitely a good ride in the car song.
And today's a good day to stay in the car, stay near some air conditioning. But getting into some news, Melissa Harris Perry has joined BET as a special news correspondent.
Yes.
She's going to be covering the Democratic National Convention. So,
And if they have any sense at all, they will make sure that she gets far more FaceTime and opinionated airtime than she was given on MSNBC, which is what led to her leaving them. So, this is an opportunity, hopefully, for her to continue to rewrite the way that she interacts with her audience in a way that she feels is substantive.
Definitely a good look. And it'd be great to see BT step up their news game the same way they have with TV One with Roland Martin. Did you check out Roland and on Wendy Williams this week?
Again, one, Wendy Williams is on when I'm on, so no.
Okay.
Two, Wendy Williams.
Well, she said she was getting educated by Roland. She brought him on for 10 minutes, and he just sort of laid out Black history since 1654 for her, and she just looked puzzled and amazed. Really, that happened to us?
And for those of you who are wondering why this would be so significant or historic, it is because Wendy Williams, flapping off at the mouth as she always does, because that's what she gets paid to do, made some disparaging remarks about HBCUs.
And Black History Month.
Yes.
And NAACP.
A week or so ago about Black things in general. And the social media land lost its mind. And so Roland came on to help educate her.
Yeah, I'm
and
not
some
sure
of the
how much she learned.
Misconceptions of what she was espousing, doing what she does. And we're just gonna let that float out there.
Let that go. Well, you can check out the clips. You can check out the little beef back and forth on YouTube. You can see the whole history of it.
Okay.
Very entertaining, in my opinion. I guess next we need to have Stacey Dash get
Please.
schooled. But
Who in the world wants to take on that Herculean task?
she's got a new book out. I thought maybe we should have her on the show to talk about it.
What's the name of the book?
Something about being a conservative or
Of course it
change
is.
Or whatever.
Of course it is.
How I changed.
There's some people that when the boat leaves to take us back to wherever it is that we really want to go, she is going to still be standing over here waving at us from the shore, and that's perfectly fine.
Okay. Oh, speaking of, did you see the brother who did a GoFundMe for all you racists that want to send me back to Africa and start? I need $100,000.
That's right, $100,000 to send him back to Africa. And if people want to fund it, then they are welcome to do so because he has a crowdfunding page to collect the dollars.
He's got about $1,000 so far.
$1,000 out of $100,000. So people are not willing to put their money where their mouth is right now.
I would get into the list of the Emmy Award nominees, but this may be the blackest list of Emmy Award nominees ever.
Well, see, I just love the progression. I need people to understand that we started with 2 years of Oscars So White, right? And then we got the Tonys, and the Tonys were incredibly diverse, not just black folks, just people of color in general. There were a lot of people represented in the Tonys. And now, as we continue to progress through the timeline of how the award season goes, now we've got the Emmy nominees, and they're extra black too.
Well, extra black. Well, there's more nominees and there's way more television than there are feature films.
Right.
So it's a bigger pool, but I think people are being recognized. Both Cuba Gooding and Courtney B. Vance got nominated in the same category for the People versus O.J. Simpson documentary. Chris Rock got nominated for Best Directing for the Amy Schumer special, as well as Beyonce and Khalil Joseph for the Lemonade special.
Okay.
On HBO. What else is Roots got nominated for Best Miniseries and a bunch of subcategories like makeup and things like that.
Okay.
Didn't necessarily blow things away. Blackish got 3 nominations. Best Actress, Best Actor, and Best Series. Key and Peele got a couple of nominations. Mainly, Keegan-Michael Key got nominated for Best Actor and the show for another series. But, you can go to shadowandact.com and see the whole list of black nominees. I did want to mention 2 movies that come out today in Philadelphia. The first you can go see right now that I highly recommend is, it's not necessarily a black film, but it's by a black director. Actually, the first African-American to win an Oscar for documentary, Roger Ross Williams, who did Sounds of Prudence, I think was the name of the film. And his latest movie is called Life Animated. and it's about a autistic person, a young autistic boy who learns to communicate and make sense of his world through the world of Disney. You know, so the breakthrough moment, you know, he loses the ability to speak and communicate at the age of 3, and his parents, who are well off, and one's a writer for the Wall Street Journal, so they send him to the best schools and everything. But the breakthrough happens one day when he just says something out of a Disney movie, and they realize, wow, that's his connection to the world. And the way he frames everything, his life experience, is through Disney.
Nice.
So it gets really interesting when he's 23 years old and he's got a girlfriend. He's about to move into his own apartment.
Yeah.
So it's very just well done. You know, we're definitely going to hear more about this Oscar time. And right now, it opens today at the Ritz 5.
Well, that's excellent. And, you know, there's a whole group of students that he may have studied in order to write this particular film, because I saw a feature of them on CBS Sunday Morning, who literally, they're all autistic students who have bonded together because of their collective love for Disney.
Right. Well, maybe the father wrote a book first.
Okay.
The book is also called Life Animated.
Yeah.
There's a website, Life Animated, and I think this is inspired by the father's book. But it's just you know, really, you know, it's a great movie in the sense that you know, if you don't have illness like that, if you're not afflicted with something emotional or affects your brain like that, it just really makes you take life, you know, not take life for granted so much, really to count your blessings for one. And then also the movie is deeply rooted in family, like the relationship between him and his parents and his brother. It's just really well developed. And again, this is an Oscar winning director. So it just seems like they're at the right place at the right time throughout the movie, just capturing lots of great moments, and definitely the movie to see this week.
Excellent.
The second movie is Ghostbusters 2016 revamp, which is playing everywhere. The female version with Melissa McCarthy, Kristen Wiig, Leslie Jones, and Kate McKinnon are the new Ghostbusters. Had a chance to see it a few days ago, and it's getting very mixed reviews. I think there's no possible way that it was going to be as good as the very first movie, but if you like the chemistry between these 4 actors, you may enjoy it. I don't like. Not a great film for me, but I had long conversations with other people afterwards, and they really enjoyed it. They were entertained. I mean, to me, it's everything that's wrong with Hollywood. Lazy screenwriting. It just seemed like a lot of the humor comes out of the ad-libbing, kind of sketchy, Saturday Night Live kind of humor, as opposed to like well-developed characters where the audience can anticipate certain things. And you know, it's really just a reboot of the original Ghostbusters. The whole price of admission is when the ghosts come out and you see all the CGI effects and stuff. But you're not going to be there. You're not one of the people.
No.
But what about the feminism? See, it's like it's tough to criticize it, because if you say anything bad about Ghostbusters, you don't like women.
Boo. I go back to what I say all the time about rehashing classics. And this happens far more often in my musical world than it does in my film world, but it's the same kind of idea. Like, the first one was perfectly fine, not needing a remake, ever. And regardless of whether you cast all females in the roles or what have you, the first one was a classic that should just live on its own. It didn't need to be redone.
But there's so much money to be made.
Boo.
You know, we have Ghostbusters toys and Ghostbusters Papa John's pizza.
Boo. Then do a new one.
Green slime stuff.
Then make a Ghostbusters 3 and do the next generation or whatever you want to do, and make it blatant that it's a money grab, and let that be that, but not remake Ghostbusters, which was fine on its own.
Well, let me ask you
this. The second one was freaking horrible, other than the Bobby Brown song.
I agree completely. You had me at hello. I did not need to waste my time or money at Ghostbusters 2. And, at the end of this one, I just said, oh, God, they're trying to set this up as a franchise. And in some ways, like, on one hand, it's like, oh, maybe it'd be great if to see these women make it's like a political statement to have women carry a blockbuster movie for the summer. But then I don't need to see another one of these.
Exactly.
What are your thoughts on Leslie Jones as a talent, as a commodity?
I don't know enough about her to have a whole lot of thoughts about her. I think that the fact that nobody wanted to dress her for recent red carpets is a crime. Shout out to Christian Siriano, who finally stepped up and put her in a lovely red dress. And she says, I'll remember. All of you who said no. And people need to understand that part of this Hollywood business can be really ugly and very biased for any number of different reasons. Melissa McCarthy got tired of being turned down because she's a big girl, and so she started designing her own clothes. Bravo for her. You know what I mean? Like, this is the kind of world that we live in. And so my kind of counter good news to that is the final announcement that Ava DuVernay made, that Michelle Ndegeocello has been hired to score Queen Sugar on OWN. And so for all of you who appreciate the amazing ability of Michelle Ndegeocello as a songwriter, she's doing the score for each episode of this first season of Queen Sugar. And that is something that I will champion and celebrate for sure.
Well deserved.
Yes.
So just real quick, Leslie Jones, I got to get used to her. She makes me uncomfortable. I mean, just a loud person.
Yeah, exactly.
Which in general makes me uncomfortable. I don't think that's funny. The movie itself, I was hoping to laugh, and I just didn't laugh. But I saw a nice piece of her where she said that where she was on The View, and she said, like, seeing Whoopi on television inspired her to feel like she could do something, and that she feels like she's carrying the torch for that. Big, bold, bodacious, loud Black sisters everywhere.
I get it. I will say that I thoroughly enjoyed the video piece that she did sitting with Seth Meyers watching the season 6 finale of Game of Thrones. She had seen it already. He purposely had not. And so they watched it in his dressing room at NBC. And so she's doing, the same way that some of us choose to go see Black movies in Black theaters because the commentary in the audience is just as funny as whatever happens on the screen. Yes, so that's what she's doing.
She's authentically her. I just don't, like in certain realms, like when we didn't really pick Leslie Jones. I mean, white folks put her on Saturday Night Live. White folks put her on Ghostbusters. Like, so there's sort of like a little barrier there. Like, okay, well, they must think she's funny, but, I'm just waiting. I watched her special. I'm still waiting. But I mean, shout out to her. I'll buy the L cover because I think it's a collector's item. But Ghostbusters. I mean, I would say wait till next week. See Lights Out if you want a really good ghost movie. But
okay.
But it's out today.
Excellent.
All right, so let's say that's all I got today.
That's all that Mike has today. But make sure you go to Reelblack.com for links to the independent filmmakers we've spoken to on today's episode. And, for those of you who are inclined to watch a red carpet premiere online, then definitely get the information of But Not For Me. But Not For Me.
By Ryan Carmichael. Great film. Really great indie, anti-love story, and just really truthful to millennials. Reminded me of my time in New York, and the struggle that it's all about, and trying to discover yourself, find your voice, and the music in this great. I mean, that gets a thumbs up for me, honestly.
Absolutely. Well, lots of good stuff. And, it's summertime. So Mike has his top secret mission, possibly in Montana next week. So we'll see if he'll be joining us here in studio. But I'll be here next
week. It might be the week after.
Gotcha. Okay. But we, for all of you, the movie theaters are great places to soak up free AC over a hot weekend. And as we get further into the summer, there'll be plenty more for you to see. Thank you for tuning in to today's edition of Real Black Radio. Thank you, Mike. And we'll be back with the last hour of the Mojo in just a minute.
You've been listening to a podcast of Real Black Radio with Mike D and Steph Renee. Fridays 11 a.m. till noon on 900 AM WURD. And 900 AM WURD.com. Follow us on your favorite social media like Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter for up-to-date information at 900 AM WURD and at Real Black.